Hey there, this is Matthias with Flat Rate Internet Marketing, going to go over our SEO workflow that we typically do for a client. So like everything that happens in our workflow, we tend to break everything down into 4 steps so we can follow weekly on a month-to-month basis. So for the SEO workflow, we have everything broke down to auditing, curation, on-page, off-page, and then of course we finish with reporting like we do every month. The on-page audit is arguably the most important thing that we can do for a site as a whole. So what this will do is it'll scrape out all the information on your website and determine what is accurate to the service that you're trying to present, and are there any problems with the content or the copy, or are there any problems with maybe the web design, the internal linking, or the page speed. This will scrape all that information and feed it back to us. And we usually take the 12 that are the most at risk or at most important. So if there's something that's a flat out critical error, we're going to try and fix it as soon as possible. But the next step is if we're running anything like ads or landing pages, then those are going to want to be prioritized above pretty much anything except for the critical pages. Because the sooner we're able to modify and fix those, the sooner we're able to kind of have that dual purpose where we can also push ads at the same time to have a higher quality score, because quality score and SEO go pretty close together. So the next important thing that we do is a lot of keyword research for each of the individual pages. So we try to come up with a list of anywhere between 4 to 6 keywords per page that we can rank for. This helps us do 2 things. This helps us create really tight pages that have a very narrow form of use. And then we feel that the best way to move on and add more keywords would be add more pages or add larger sections and make super long pages. But any of this information is usually what's going to be best for us to, find a hard search volume and say, these are the metrics we're going to get from it. If we even take 50% of the market, that means we're averaging X amount of users, and we're able to present all this information to the client. Next, we're going to be breaking down the first part of an SEO update that we usually do. So it's called OnPage Optimization. These things are anything from copy and content are inconsistent with what the page is supposed to be about. Maybe the images and the headers need to be optimized too. And then usually we find that on average, the other top 10 results have about 200 more words than you, then we would buffer out that content length as well. So these are some of the things that usually on page represents what a user can see and thus what a bot can scrape as well. And those are the first changes that we'll typically do on the site. The second part of the update usually is the off-page changes. So these aren't necessarily things that a user would pay attention to, but these are definitely things that structurally are very important for how well a site is able to deliver information to both the user and to web crawlers at the same time. So these are things like meta description, page speed, site structure, and linking, and then of course sometimes even the page slug. Usually this is a little bit quicker than the on-page optimizations. Next is the dual purpose of reporting. So the first update that we'll be sending out, which is as soon as we're done with all the on-page copy, is kind of a living spreadsheet that we'll be optimizing and setting over with. These are the page slugs, these are the keywords they're going for, this is the search volume, this is the log of changes that we made, and this is the before and after snapshot of your sort of SEO score, so to speak. But the other part is long-term reporting would be things like, what are the ranking reports? So now we've assigned these keywords to these individual pages, but depending on how quickly search engines can crawl the site, depending on, if competitors are also doing the same thing, depending on our traffic to the pages and possible paid ads running to it, how quickly are we able to elevate those pages to the top of the rankings? And those are month-to-month reports that feature anything from competitor comparisons to historical ranking factors to, of course, Google core updates as well.